So I thought I'd do an updated foundation tutorial just because I've added a couple steps and changed a few products and stuff since my last one. So to get started, I already have on a Mary Kay oil mattifier. Just any oil mattifier works. I happened to get that one free as a gift, so I'm just gonna get my hair out of the way so I don't get foundation all over it. And just gonna start with Benefit's Porefessional. I really like this stuff, and I use it mostly on my nose. And this will include my contouring, and totally forgot to grab it, but my eyebrow routine also. There we go. Now I'm gonna take, this is just Victoria's Secret Pro Primer. It's not my favorite primer, but I ran out of my other primer. I was using the Stila Bronze primer, which has kind of a twist design, and I liked that one. I also liked the Makeup Forever one. This looks like it's trying to be like the Makeup Forever one, but it's got a much more silicone, I don't know, greasy feel to me. I don't like that. And then I usually use my Urban Decay Primer Potion in Sin now. That just gets all of my primers out of the way. And then I'll use Color Tattoo over this usually in whatever shades I'm going for, or a neutral if I'm doing neutral eyes. Alright. Now I do my concealers. So I'm going to take Benefit Erase Paste, that's what it is, in number 2. And this is just a peachy color. So it really seems to get rid of the bluish tones under my eyes. And I just dab that on with my finger to begin with. Then I take Revlon, and this is the Color Stay concealer, and it's in medium. And this is what I use on my blemishes or any expressly red parts. Side of my nose. And I kind of thought I'd do this because I'm breaking out worse than usual, which seems like a terrible time to do a foundation video, but if my skin's behaving, it's kind of like, what's the point? I even have a breakout on my neck. I never break out on my neck. Probably stress-induced, I'm gonna say. Now I'm gonna take, this is a Sonia Kusciak. I believe this is actually just an eyeshadow blending brush, but I really like it for my concealer. It's got a funky handle. And I'm just gonna rub in and blend where I dab my concealer. Not too much because I want the product obviously to stay on my face. My chin broke out quite a lot, which is from hormones, usually, so that could be another factor. Stress and hormones. Usually this step takes less time because I have like the side of my nose, my chin, and then a couple blemishes. I usually don't have quite so many. And then I just do my eyes last, or I can do them first, but because I had more blemishes, I tend to focus on making sure those are concealed first. And when I first got it, this brush used to be much softer. Now it's starting to irritate me. Like, it doesn't physically look like it irritates me, but... And I tend to go a little bit over my nose with the extra, just because my nose is a little redder than the rest of my face. I suppose I was thinking I should probably make sure I'm in frame this whole time. I've done it where I'm like looking over and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, you guys can't see anything I'm doing. Alright, so that's the concealer done. And sometimes I might have to do this time, but after I do my foundation, if a spot is really bugging me, this one's a little bit more hard to conceal, I'll go over it with concealer again. So now I'm taking my Revlon, this is Match Perfection in Sand. I love this foundation. I think I might not bother with other foundations. I might change the color, you know, to go with my skin. I have to see how it performs in the winter or in the summer. Since winter it seems good, but just in case. This is the Real Techniques. This is just the stippling brush. I'll use this. I'll use a Sigma. This is the flat top synthetic kabuki. I'll use that sometimes. I'll use, you know, a normal foundation brush. I just really like this one for buffing it in. And I load up the brush. I usually start with my forehead just because it's up here. Start from the bottom, work towards, or start from the top, work towards the bottom. I just make sure I blend it really good into my skin so that I don't get any streaks or discoloration somewhere. This is a really good, I would say, medium coverage foundation. It's not too heavy. It lets your own skin kind of shine through. But it definitely does a good job fixing discoloration and helping to hide breakouts. Then I'm taking it down my neck a little bit, just so I don't end up with that strange foundation to the rest of my face line, which this one is really close to my coloring. I was actually surprised because I was getting color matched whenever I went to Sephora to like the name brand, and I think the last one I had that was really name brand, actually I can probably find it. Oh goodness. Well, for one, I know it's in here. Oh, I have two that I was color matched to, and one was, this is the YSL La Tinte Touch Chocolat, and the only thing is this is super pale. This one is, and it's got oxidation sunscreen, so it tends to look even lighter. BR20, I think that's Beige Rose 20. I don't know if you guys can see a color difference, but yeah, I can see that on the camera, so hopefully you can. This is super light. This is for when I'm like pale, and I tanned this winter a little bit, so I wasn't as pale. And then the other color I got matched to was the 125 Makeup Forever HD, which I love, but it's just really expensive. and those are much closer in color. I feel like this one's a little more pink toned and it works really well with my skin. And my friend actually gave me the 155 Makeup Forever, which is super dark, and I mixed it with this. They don't seem to mix well together, so these two are just not two foundations that, I don't know if it's like the ingredients don't match or mix, whatever. But this will be for if I'm even darker in the summer. I probably will be because I've stopped tanning in the last, I don't know, month-ish. So now, while I'm done yapping, I'm going to take, this is Benefit's Girl Meets Pearl. This is just a small sample. But what I've been doing with this is just putting a tiny dab on my finger. And then I take that, I usually use my ring finger, and then I dab it from sort of the middle here down and over. This just kind of does some reflecting, and it makes my dark circles look even less noticeable. I'm putting it over the foundation and concealer so that it shines through, but I'm putting it on before the powder because I don't want it to look shiny right there. So then I'm using Rimmel Stay Matte. This is in Sandstorm 004. And I use my Sigma large powder. I've had this forever. And I'm just going to use that to set my foundation. I have naturally semi-oily skin. It can get dry. My cheeks can get dry usually in the winter, but it's not too dry down here, so I haven't needed to do much with that. And I'll probably do my full contour routine just because sometimes I just do my cheekbones or hollows of my cheek. I take the Sonia Kusciak, and this looks terrible, like absolutely terrible. I've hit pan on it already, but it's just a mess looking. But this is in Warm Tan, and it's a cream bronzer. And I use, this is the MAC 158 or 168, I can't tell because of the way it is. But I load that up a little bit, and I start blending it in the hollows where my cheeks is. Of course, you can do the fishy face, but once you do this enough, you know where your hollow is anyways. And I just kind of blend that in, and I really try to blend it with this brush too, so that it's not a streak. I kind of wrap it up towards my nose a little bit, but not enough that you really see the color, especially with the cream. Then I go under my jawbone. Sometimes I bring it up just right there on my chin too. Then on my temples. Or not on my temples, but the hollow by your temples. Anything that's kind of hollow and where the sun would hit, I tend to do. So like my hairline is sort of where the sun would naturally hit you, is the top of your forehead. And there's not a huge difference right now. Oh, one last thing. There isn't a big difference right now because this cream bronzer is just a touch darker. This is good if I was like super pale too. I could just use this. I'm using my finger to contour my nose just because my finger tends to do a more easy job then trying to find a brush to fit a smaller area like this. I kind of do right over that dimple, right around it. Dimpled. It's like the bridge to the point of your nose. And I just go from basically my eyebrow down the side. I have a really skinny nose and it's kind of pointy, so I don't need too much contouring, but this just helps define it. Then I take my MAC Harmony powder, which is the first product I ever hit pan on, and so far the only MAC product I've hit pan on. And I need to pick one up not too long because look how much pan! Now I'm using my Sigma tapered face brush and I'm just going over the same areas. This helps set that cream and plus it deepens the color, but still looks very natural. And contouring just adds kind of a depth to your face and can thin it, can do all sorts of tricks. There's lots of ways you can look online to see tips and techniques. You can use it to really shape and mold your nose and your cheekbones. I use it mostly for my cheekbones. That's the benefit that I get out of it the most. And usually if I don't do much, I still will contour my cheeks really quickly with just the My Harmony powder, if I'm being fast. So then I do the rest of my makeup, and then I'll set it with usually an Urban Decay De-Slick or Urban Decay All-Nighter. But this is my foundation routine, and the very last thing I'm going to do is... That's strange. I don't have any eyeliner on, but I had like an eyeliner smudge. I'm using Maybelline Unstoppable. That's why I said urban, is because it's unstoppable. O-U or U-N tends to confuse me. Espresso. And all I do usually is fill in any spots. And I like how malleable this pencil is, even though it's not specifically for eyebrows. If I make a mistake, I can fix it. And it is close to my hair color. It's a little dark looking with my red hair, so I tend to use it just to make sure my brows have definition instead of trying to darken them severely. And I use sort of quick strokes to help fill them in because that'll make my lines more natural. My eyebrows are naturally different shapes, so I try not to accentuate that so that they look like they both belong on my face, but they grow a little different. One has more of an arch, one has less. And now I'm taking Maybelline Define a Brow. This is in medium brown, but I don't actually use the pencil. I use the comb brush on the other end, and I comb through my brows. This just adds to a more natural finish. If I had brow setting gel, I'd use it now, but I tried one and I didn't like it. So this is the finish face. This is where I start my tutorials. I usually do 2 swipes of mascara or an eye or something, but this is kind of what I do for my foundation. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you later. Bye.